Well then, hello and welcome to this Race 1, the official first race, or at least the first point-scoring race of Season 2 of Project Ameliorate, Racing Pals' premier open-wheel racing series hosted within Assetto Corsa. I am your commentator, Mr. James Andrews, and today we shall see for the first time drivers duke it out for a potential finishing position and actual championship points that will conclude that will go towards their final tallies at the end of this 6-race season. Today we are at the Hungaroring. Last time out we were at Mosport Park for our pre-season race. The drivers had a chance then and there to test a good number of their upgrades that they had taken in the off-season between Season 1 and this Season 2, and since then they have further upgraded their cars to try and bring something to the competition to gain an edge over their opponents. So before we move on and have a look at this circuit, let's just have a look. Everyone knows Hungaroring, a very traditional old, I think one of the few old Soviet international circuits, well, old Eastern Bloc international circuits. Ironic, this is the first time I think that the track map has actually reflected the corner names, because there are no corner names at Hungaroring, just numbers. But we shall have an onboard, I'm sure, before the end of practice, which will be ending in around 12 minutes time. There will be a short server restart, as I understand it, before practice ends, which the stream will continue going through. I shall simply put a splash screen up and rejoin the server as soon as possible. So let's have a look. I did this last time for anyone rejoining us. Here are your championship standings from last season. This is the Season 1 championship standing for the drivers. Jacob the Snack took P1 over M1 LDT by 2 points at the final race. He secured the podium position he needed to beat M1 LDT to the punch and become the Season 1 and is now the reigning Project A champion. M1 LDT, as I say, second place with 169 points, followed by Devdo with 158. I won't go through it all as I did that last time round. But interestingly, none of those top 3 drivers thus far this season look to be championship contenders as their cars are at the moment. Of course, as cars get upgraded and as they improve, and as the lower order finishers receive a greater number of research tokens than those who finish higher, they have a greater chance to bring something back towards the end of the season and the end of this 2-series beta test of the Project A format. And your team standings from last season were as such: Team Spectre, that is M1 LDT and Darkius, with their associated fill-in drivers that attended. I think Jort was the only one last season. For this season, I know they have Jort and Yakarowan on the cars as spares, but that is Darkius and Deep primarily taking the P1 spot in the Constructors' Championship for last season, which also meant that they had a greater number of tokens as a post-season bonus to try and upgrade their cars for this series. PCT Racing, that is Jacob the Snack and Deep Cuts. Jacob being the reigning Drivers' Championship, just lost out to Team Spectre in the Constructors, of course, with Team Spectre having had fill-in drivers, taking something away from perhaps some of their Constructors, Drivers' Championship hopes, but giving something to their Constructors' hopes. And Stadiums Racing were third with 320 points. So with that, actually before I move on, I'm going to have a quick look then. So as I said, we were at last race, we were at Mosport Park in Canada for the pre-season non-point scoring race. Let's just have a quick look then at the final results of that race after stewarding and all other issues have been dealt with. The final race results for last race, although they do not count towards the championship, are as such. P1 was Robin Moe, B2 Crime, and P3 Daniel Scott, who we spoke to post-race. Then P4 is Gons for the Indian bus drivers. P5 was Suicidal Cookie. M1LDT took P6. Dion took P7. Deep Cuts Jacob the Snack and Tom round out the top 10. Then below them you had Darkius, Benjamin Walrack, Nathaniel Foltz Rochelau, Husky, Charlie, and Matt Linham Anderson. And with that, let's move on to today's race. And have a look in the last 7 minutes of qualifying at this track, this circuit, and at the drivers who are here. Let's have a look at our P1. If I can find a proper camera view. Actually, I'm going to sort this out after the thing. So, Robin Moe at the moment, sitting P1 in this practice session. You can hear there, I believe it's a V8 engine of the Spinardi car, as there we are. I told you there's going to be a restart, and we have a restart. Almost too perfect a timing. So I shall throw up a splash screen and rejoin the server, which should be up essentially immediately. The noise you just heard was Content Manager telling me the race was cancelled, which is what it always tells you when you leave a server, but there we are. If I was clever, I could have done the previous race results portion in this section of the commentary, but oh well, there we are. You can see in the poster there the lovely rear end of the Peace T car, driven again, as I say, by Jaker and Deep Cuts. Beautiful, very colourful livery, that one. And here we are. Hooray, we are back. So, Thomas Jack, familiar RP series driver, yesterday in our ACC Imola 4 hours event, third placed finisher, along with Deep Cuts, who, as I said, is driving the Peace T racing car. Well, that car looks a little bit different and sounds a little bit different from the last time that we saw it. So it has wings. They have not yet been painted for one reason or another, at least not on my end, but they are wings. Lovely carbon fibre, medium downforce wings that this car has. Trying to obviously gain the edge as the cars get more powerful, get a little bit quicker, and trying to maintain their edge over their competitors through the corners. Try not to lose too much to those who already have wings themselves. But you will hear something a little bit different. It's something we touched on in the previous race. Electric engines are the newest option for teams trying to upgrade their cars this season, and as you can see, the interestingly painted small PP car who just ran into the camera has chosen that, along with a number of other teams, including, I believe this one's down here, Jacob Skrodsky, apparently the replacement for Cilium's second driver, whether that is Dion or Devdo. I have seen Devdo about, so I think it must be Dion who he is replacing. I think that's also the case because it's a 26 car. Also has the electric engine, as well as you can see there, the high downforce wing profile, and he is struggling to get on the power. Now, from what I've heard from drivers in their practice sessions, the power, the straight line speed, and the speed off the line in particular of this electric engine with the amount of torque it has is incredible, but as we can see, it is not the most wieldy of things. That torque can play havoc, especially at this track with some very, very turny exits. Trying to control that torque, getting on the power after some of these corners will be very difficult, and I think we've already seen the results of some of that as we see Jacob Skrodsky, former Poland's finest driver from last season, trying to negotiate this car around this racetrack. The other downside, as I understand it, of the electric engine is that it weighs a hell of a lot. As I understand it, the Indian bus race car, sorry, the small PP car, at least I've heard, may weigh as much as 1,000 kilograms. I'm probably wrong on that completely. Either way, it's a lot of extra weight on the side of the engine, with all the batteries having to be obviously stored within the car. And as such, they are also struggling, or at least I've heard from the small BB team, who I will have a look on boards. I know Tom has perhaps a little bit of a greater grasp on the track than Jacob seems to at the moment, but that weight is causing them to massively slow down to the corners, so it will be interesting to see what happens with them on lap 1, as I know they will have the speed off the line, or at least I believe they will. But when they get to that first corner, it's going to suddenly become a very different story. As you can see, him trying to control the rear end of that car on power, and the IBD car, the Indian Bus Drivers car of what's regularly the Indian Bus Drivers number 90 car of Gons, is currently driven by our P1 sitter at the moment, Ivan Baratz, our fellow Mr. President, famous again Racing Powell's colleague, regular around these parts. Both have gone for the medium wings, but the engine in the IBD car is the V8. Whilst, as you can see there, Tom getting a bit deep into turn 2 and missing the corner entirely. Now, can we see someone coming up to a lap very quickly? Yes, we can. I'm gonna ignore that little silliness on the front of the IBD car. I forgot about that. Tom was very unhappy when he originally put in his original design for this car's livery. I think there was a compromise. But coming to T1 then, the Indian Bus Drivers car, as driven by Kai Sforza, replacement driver this week, well, third driver I believe for the Indian Bus Drivers team, and he's going to park it because I can't have nice things. Let's have a look at Crime then. Try and be heard over the loudness of the V8 engine as he comes up to turn 1. So again, these corners have no names, and he is going to struggle to get past the PC racing car of Jacob the Snack, who I will look at now, and you can see Crime in the rearview mirror there as they come down to turn 2. A sweeping left-hander, very difficult. I think in this car the trick is to keep as tight to the left as possible. Lines may differ depending on what car. Now this is a corner you want to try and get as flat as possible. It looks a lot tighter than it is in this car, but a nice slight right, followed by this sharp left, and you want to try and carry as much speed there through there as possible. Jacob not quite managing it and losing the car and parking it because I still cannot have nice things. We will have to apparently wait for quality to get a nice long lap in to have a look at this, but right now it looks like Devdo just recovered the car out of P11. Is now coming up to the not quite fully downhill, but after the downhill section, right hand 90-degree corner. That is turn 12. I think the only part of this track that's been reprofiled since its creation, actually. And now up to the turn 13, turn 14 hairpin complex. Not quite sure what he's doing here, but he is struggling to get that car turned in, even with as low power as he is currently going. You know, that's the interesting thing about Hungaroring. It hasn't really changed much in the last 30, 40 years since it was built, for the most part, except for at turn 12, which has gone through a lot of development. What we now know as the right-hand corner has once been a sequence of corners. As we wait for cars to come out at the 10 minutes of this qualifying section, yeah, the turn 12 section has been a sequence of different corners, a more straight line to turn 13 corner, I think it once was. It's certainly seen its fair share of changes, whilst the rest of the track has seen absolutely nothing. The cars now then filing out of the pit lane, starting to vie for track position, not necessarily abiding by the white line on the pit exit, but there we go. AC does not penalise it, and well, that'd be a lot of work for the stewards to try and do at this point. So as it is sim racing, as long as they're not causing any incidents and don't get in the way of drivers on laps, there's not really much need, as one of the Cilium's cars comes out of the pit lane, and that's a 26 of Jacob Skrosky, plants it into the wall very early into this qualifying session. So then let's have a look at Mr. Daniel Scott, who is currently sitting in first place by merit of having left the pit lane first, and he will be the first driver to find and start his flying lap. Sadly, I do not believe there are any other camera options on this particular track. It seems quite random. But we will make do with what we have. Actually, I'm going to now set up. You can see the fun as Daniel comes around the second to last quarter. We will be quick. That's the camera I want. You'll notice the fun one is the one that for some reason is 5 miles in the air, looking down at the bird's eye view. But Daniel Scott then rounds the final corner to start his first flying lap. Let's ride on board with him, that V8 engine roaring to life as he comes up to the hard braking zone of turn 1. You want to focus on getting a very good exit down out of here, as it is a long, slightly right-hand turn and little stretch down to turn 2. Again, as I said before, focusing on the exit, and then on to turn 3 where you want to try and maximize as much speed as possible. I think some of these cars, I think Daniel might have there, I didn't see the inputs, can take this just about flat, and that is the power of those wings helping them. And then the left hand kink of turn 4 up to the other hairpin. There are many hairpins on this circuit. A wider hairpin of turn 5, again, good exit required. I know it sounds a bit obvious, but certainly at this track it is something to be focused on. The chicane then, fly through that as quickly as possible. To the left-right section, the little S section of the Hungaroring circuit. Before this, the sweeping left-hander into the right-hander down the hill towards the turn 12 section, which will then lead to the final 2 hairpins. It'll take you back home at the Hungaroring as Frederick Shublam, another Cheba, another one of our great Racing Powers members, does actually say that turn 1 has changed some years back. It used to be a long 180-degree turn similar to the final turn, plus at the same time they extended the start-finish straight a bit. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I suppose it hasn't changed that much, so I've never really seen it on a map. But yes, I can imagine how a much longer 180-degree turn would be different. Obviously, the one right now is a bit like the edge of it at the end of a sort of scimitar. It's very tight, but then has a very wide exit compared to other corners on this circuit. You'll see then it bends round towards turn 2. So let's have a look then, as we are now at the 5-minute 40-second mark. Robin Moe is your current pole sitter, provisional pole sitter that is, with a 147.844, followed by his teammate who we were riding on board with, Mr. Daniel Scott, with a 149.496. Now I know Daniel Scott can get the 48s, as he has done so in practice, and I think if he does a good lap, he can get into the 147s as well. He is a quick driver. P5 yesterday during the Imola 4 hours. In fact, I'm not just highlighting that because I was his teammate, but then we have Ivan Bratz in P3 with a 149.511, only just less than 200, from Mr. Scott in P2. But then we have to go back a good 10 seconds to the cars that perhaps are not finding their way around this track as nicely as they would hope. The electric-powered Cilliams racing car of Devdo, a little bit stuck behind one of the Spectre cars, but the Spectre car goes wide and is still getting back onto the track. And Dev is able to get through, but he is currently 4th with less than 5 minutes remaining. He is 4th place with only a 158.145. Now, I am assuming, I'm making a very big assumption here, but I'm assuming that the upgrades have not put these cars quite that far apart, and drivers perhaps who have done less practice or have focused less or have had just, busy lives, as we all do from time to time, are struggling to get in, as we see then Crime and Ivan Bratz go 2-3 for Indian bus drivers. Daniel Scott improved upon his previous lap time, but it's P4 for the for D. Scott, who is the Scottish driver. Also D. Scott. I only realised that the other day when I was making delivery for our endurance race, and I thought it was quite funny. But Daniel Scott is P4 at the moment as we see Devdo lock up into turn 1, and that's going to damage his lap time. That lap, Devdo did a 155.112, still only P5 by a good 6-second margin. And no one currently, except for the top 4, in the 40s at all. This is one of those moments where I do wish that AC would have a race control function like ACC does. So I could see who's on a good lap time, who's not. Sadly, I have to do without and just guess. But here we see then Michael Randall, our very own Trainboy 2005, in the full steam racing car, sponsored by Jersey Central Lines. That's New Jersey, to be specific, not old Jersey. Which weirdly I did see something about earlier. I can't remember what it was now, old Jersey. But either way, he is currently sitting P7 with a 157.6. Only a couple of tenths as he goes a bit wide there. Possibly not invalidation. When you're on the runoff strip there, you can be pretty safe. But if you get onto the tarmac proper, it's usually an invalidation. But he's only 2 tenths off of Sylvain Hubble, the former Helios Community Racing car. They're still running the HCR logo on the side of their car and still very much part of the Helios Community Racing team. But Sylvain and Benjamin Morak, his teammate now, the 2 French drivers, driving the Spinning Baguettes car, which is a name I'm sure they will hope not to fulfill. As we see, Trainboy has crossed the line. Michael Randall has crossed the line and not improved on his lap time that time round, or it was invalid. Now, with 1:34 on the clock, he will have only one more lap before the end of this qualifying session. But speaking of the Sylvain, he is coming to cross the line and improves on his lap time. Not by much, but that is a 157.122 as we see a lot of smoke rising from turn 1. Someone clearly had a major lockup into that corner. As you can see there, the rear end of the car, a very Alpine-inspired livery, the HCR logo blazing proudly. Again, another fixture of a lot of Racing Pals events. Sylvain and Benjamin Morak, who actually yesterday were 2 of our stewards for the Ameliorate 4 hours. Unfortunately, Benjamin could not make it due to a problem with electricity, as we all have from time to time. But Sylvain, I know, performed admirably in his first outing as a steward and has been, both of them at least, a near constant fixture in Racing Pals Racing. And one that we do very much enjoy seeing. So 25 seconds left. Let's have a look. Where's our leader? Our leader is in traffic and returns to the pit lane. He will not get another lap. So that's the top 3 in the pit lane, not getting another lap. And Daniel Scott gets a 149.182, and that secures for him, at least from the threat of crime, 3rd place. Now, can someone else shift him from that position? Can anyone else on this track put in a 40? Oh, it's Daniel very quickly pushes his back to pits button, as we see there in the background one of the Cilium's cars trying and not exactly managing to get on the power. That is Jacob Skrodzki, the former Poland's finest driver, and he returns to the pits promptly. Who have we not seen? And let's have a look at Jort. Jort replacing M1LDT, who did put something in chat earlier, and I'm sorry to mention it. He is unable to attend today's race. He's making his way home from wherever he has been. And Jort has stepped in to take his shoes, not for the first time that Jort has stepped into a Project A car, but I think this will be a very different car to his last outings, as it now has wings and whatever other many upgrades Spectre chose to take in the off-season and between race 1, the pre-season race, and this race 1 of the series. Let's have a look as the Spectre car rounds the final corner. He comes to the line very early on this track. And he crosses the line. And I didn't see any improvement. And that puts him P11 for now. The only other car we haven't seen, sorry, it's these guys. The Lada Martini cars are back. Actually, we haven't seen the leftovers car, but I'm sure we'll see them at some point. And the Velocity Racing car. But Lada Martini, new car, new entry, entirely new entry for this series and this season. I don't think there are any other overly new entries. The Sylvain Hubble, Ameliorate team having just changed their name. Lada Martini racing car now with a livery which they didn't have last race. A very classic, beautiful Martini livery. With them running the 911 and 912 numbers. In a sort of very traditional Lada Martini Porsche. Well, not Lada Martini Porsche, but Martini Porsche fashion. But a nice traditional looking livery as Kai Sforza is the final car to cross the line. We'll take P17. So there is your race order as Kai does that traditional thing we all do. Slams it into the wall. And ruins the car. But, you know, this is sim racing, so you can do that. No one else was on track. No one was hurt. Well, unless he has a really heavy force feedback wheel. But let's hope not. So your finishing order for qualifying, your starting order for the race. Robin Moe is your pole sitter with a 147.844. Ivan Bratz is second with a 148.763, almost a second back. Then Daniel Scott, the Spinardi teammate of Robin Moe, 149.182, and Crime a 149.254 in fourth place. That is your front row and second row, very much similar to last race, which was also a Spinardi IBD domination. And then we have to go back 6 seconds to Devdo in P5, who had a time of 1:55.112. Then it's Nicholas Chin for the leftovers team, Sylvain Hubble for the Spinning Baguettes, Michael Randall for the Full Steam Racing. Then Aaron Rains, Benjamin Walrack, Thomas Jack, Jort Darkius, Jacob the Snack, Deep Cuts, Jacob Skrodsky, Kai Sforza, Mats Linham Anderson in 18th place for Lada Martini, although for some reason I don't think his livery has been updated, and I'm sure that will be corrected for next race, because if I can find him, yes, he's still unfortunately running the default livery. I did get the livery pack earlier, it was a late call, but unfortunately he has not been given the updated Lada Martini racing livery, but he is a Lada Martini liveried driver, racing driver, just not liveried at the moment. Then we have behind him Charlie and Nathaniel. Sorry, no, behind him is his teammates, Mr. Hyler. His first name I do not yet know. Let me have a look. Oh, wait, Mr. Okay, that is a replacement driver whose name, well, his first name, I am not currently aware of. But M. Hyler, seemingly replacing Senna Stoffmill, who is the regular Lada Martini second driver. Then Charlie and Nathaniel Fox Rochelau as the lights light up. And it's 6 lights. And we are off for 22 laps of the Hungaroring for the Season 2, Round 1 of Project A. And a Williams car already feeling the struggles of their new electric engine. Look at the absolute swarm as they come down to turn 1. Let us hope nothing major happens. Doesn't look like there have been any major incidents through turn 1, as much as this grid looks like it could cause some. This is almost like looking at touring cars. Everyone choosing whatever line they want to take. I don't think it matters. Oh, as the Williams car Skrosky gets loose and he pulls back a few more places. Let's have a look up ahead. Oh, there's Thomas Jack. That's a small PP red car of Thomas Jack, and he is round, but he has recovered very sharply. But he's going to fall back some way, and now is just in front of his teammate. Oh, as that is Nathaniel Fox Rochelau. Oh, Nathaniel Fox Rochelau is round. It was actually his teammate Charlie who was around after turn 4 as the Williams car squeaks through, and Nathaniel is going to try and recover the car. This has been some slight carnage here on lap 1. But it seems to me that the pains that I was predicting for the electric engine cars are coming true, and their torque is becoming something very difficult to try and maintain and keep hold of, as we see Ivan Bratz go off of the track, and that's not even an electric engine, that's the V8 of the Indian bus driver's car. He has fallen back in these first opening laps to P6. Meanwhile, at the front of the grid, Crime is now on the rear of Daniel Scott, who started. Daniel Scott started P3, is now up to P2, and Crime is also, I think, up to P3. I think he was P4, and Ivan, though, has had the bad start out of the two Indian bus drivers' car and is down in P6. Let's have a look then. Sylvain Hubble, the two spinning Baguettes cars running 10th and 11th, was on the tail of York, but has lost out down the straight quite some way. And is now under threat from his teammate. Let's have a look down the order. Deep Cuts makes a move on Hyler, putting the PCT racing car up to P14. And Charlie now also has made it past... Mats Lindholm Anderson, made it past Charlie on that lap, I believe, and is now chasing down Kai Sforza, the small PP car. Gosh, that was a very hectic lap 1, as that is Ivan Bratz into a barrier, having either had a tangle or a spin. I'm not sure how I keep getting these slightly annoyingly, but also quite perfectly timed moments of changing camera. But that was something happened with the Indian bus driver's car there, and he has hit the wall, still P6, but now with Darky is 1.3 seconds behind. But I don't know if that will matter, as we know the pace of the Indian bus driver's car is significant compared to the rest of the grid, except for the Spinardi cars, and that is Michael Randall trying to fight with Darkius, Pierre Moreno, for P7. Very close, very close to the rear end to the gearbox of the Spectre car. And Michael is going to back off a little, it looks, and try and hope that he can make the move down the main straight. Let's see. Oh, is he going to get it? I think he's going to try and get it done into the final corner. He's got the inside. They are wheel to wheel. And he makes the move stick and is ahead, but Darkius, can he get the better exit out of turn 14? It looks like he can. As up ahead, Ivan Bratz has got back up to P5 and is past Aaron Rains, the first of the leftovers team cars that he has to get past. But he still has to get past this, Nicholas Chin. As Nick Chin goes very wide and basically opens the door, and Ivan says, "Thank you very much, I will be having that to go." And up ahead then, his teammate Crime, now it's an Indian bus driver's P3-4, not where they want to be considering their starting positions, but the recovery is underway as we're now only on lap 3 of 22 as the cars bounce across the chicane. Crime is struggling, it looks, in some of these corners. The Indian bus driver's cars have only upgraded to medium downforce rear wings from low downforce in the last 2 weeks. Maybe having some struggles getting used to them, whilst the Spinardi car has managed to get used to them over a course of a longer period of time, and will obviously have upgraded to help them out. Crime maybe has the power on the straights, that V8 engine having been very much well upgraded. We'll have to see. Spinardi versus Indian bus drivers is looking to be the fight of the season. It was in the pre-season race, and it's certainly looking to be so here. And Daniel Scott will hope that he can continue to hold that P2 that he was so sorely denied in last race at the pre-season. Let's have a look back on board. So Michael Randall, sorry, I must have missed it, was managed to get ahead of Darkius. Darkius again with the power perhaps he has in that Spectre car. He's gonna make it again. That looked easy, like he had DRS. That was a move which always Michael has to get out of the move as he was almost into the rear of Darkius, but there we see Devdo trying to make a move on Jaker. Jaker locking up into turn 1, and Devdo is going to make it through due to the mistake of the PSD car. It's mad to think we are only 4 laps in. I hope we keep up this pace, and Devdo's going to make a move on the Spectre car of Jort, and does so very nicely. The electric engine maybe starting to get a bit more used to it, starting to get a bit more heat into these tyres as well. That torque just playing havoc on some of these cars out of those corners, or even in them for some reason. But still ahead. Oh, actually, let's go back quickly in case I'm missing it again. Michael Randall on Darkius through what I believe is the S section. Just gets past. Can he then hold it though? Down not just this short straight after turn 11, but also on the main straight. But Darkius now is under threat of Sylvain Hubble, the first of 2 spinning Baguettes cars vying for that position as well. Very close to the back of Darkius there is Sylvain Hubble. He's going to try and make a move down the main straight. Now Crime is now still fighting Daniel Scott, but I want to watch this as I want to see how much Darkius can pull out on the main stretch. As behind it looks like Tom and Devdo are having a right fight themselves. You can see them in the background there. Darkius just absolutely storming. He's done it again. Not just on one car, but on 2. Oh, they come together. And Darkius is round. That will have to be looked at post-race, I'm sure. But Darkius almost did it again and had the power to do so. But you can see Devdo is also on that main straight with the power of the electric engine. Although, to be fair, Thomas Jack also has the electric engine. But Devdo managed to get past him as... Who's that? That's Nathaniel Pulse-Rochelau. What is he doing? He's sitting. He's parked it off the track. He's clearly had an incident. He's getting going again down in P21. But now the fight for Darkius is Tom versus as he gets loose again. Darkius did not have the happiest of pre-season races, and it looks to be slightly repeating itself today. Thomas getting a bit squirrely out of the exit with the torque of the electric engine that he has. Have to see if Darkius can use, now he's obviously, we've seen him use the absolute straight line pace of his engine against many drivers, mainly Michael Randall. We will have to see, can he use that same power against Thomas Jack, who is holding him up in the corners, but the electric engine we know is very quick off the line and very quick overall. As we see Crime, I'm sorry to say I missed that, has got past Daniel Scott, and Daniel Scott is round at turn 1. And we'll have to see. Ivan Bratz gets through as well, back into P3 for the Croatian driver. But Daniel, that's Darkius and Tom still fighting as they come through the second to last corner up to turn... I keep saying, I want to say 14. Yes, it is 14. Turn 14. It's weird how you get more loss with numbers sometimes. But Darkius always got to slot in behind. Tom takes a very IndyCar-esque breaking the slip line. Darkius cannot get ahead, but Tom... Oh! And there we have it. I think that's an electric engine fatality. Well, not fatality, if not wounding, caused by that torque that he was trying to play a little bit of the game, and it did not pay off for the Finnish driver. So we will want to see Darkius now. He should, now that he is ahead during these corners, get away from Thomas Jack, as Thomas Jack goes very deep through to after turn 4. Let's have a little look ahead. Sylvain Hubble, again, it is a spinning Baguettes line astern. trying now to chase down the man that Darkius was doing so well against on the straights, but getting past through the corners. Michael Randall in the full steam racing car, the sole full steam racing car in this race. See behind Mats Anderson apparently has been passed by Jacob Skrodsky, which is not necessarily unexpected given the current level of development of the new car. But Jacob having had some issues, maybe Mats will once again get ahead of him later on. Or can Jacob get into a rhythm and a groove with the car that he has been struggling with, both as a driver, I think, new to the electric engine, and a reserve driver at that. See, down the main straight, no real gaining or losing from Sylvain Hubble and Michael Randall. A little bit of gain into the braking zone, but the exit looks to be Michael's. And Benjamin Warrat now within the slipstream range of his teammate. And can the two French teammates scrap it out themselves, or will they play team orders and just focus on getting past the American driver of Michael Randall? See behind, Jacob Skrodsky now has also got past Mr. Heiler, and also Heiler is getting lapped by the Indian bus driver's car of Crime. So look, so it's now a 0.7 gap between Walrack and Hubble. It was 0.7 gap between Hubble and Randall. It's still a 0.5 gap between Walrack and Hubble, coming down to 0.4 every now and then. It's a very close cut between these two teammates and the full steam racing car, and then behind them, making somewhat of an advantage out of the electric engine and out of their squabbling ahead, is Devdo, the Scottish driver of the Williams racing team, teammate to regular Dion and currently to the reserve Jacob Skrodsky. Currently sitting P10 in the 1994 Williams inspired, 1992 to 1994-ish Williams inspired car. Dev, all the power of the electric engine. He is past Walrack. Can he get past Hubble? Yes, he can. Can he get past Michael Randall? Not quite. He's going to look to the inside, but he is not going to make it stick on this occasion. The power of that electric engine is not to be contended with, as he also gets past Michael Randall on the exit. But now, with the weight he has and a little lock-up to go with it, he's going to have to try and maintain that position as he comes around the very, very much a cornering section of track that makes up almost the entirety of this circuit. I think, though, Dev might be away. The rear wing, the high downforce rear wing is meant to be very good, and maybe helping to solve a lot of the cornering woes that the other electric engine teams are facing right now. So Michael Randall still leading the pack that is him and the two French cars. Gets loose a little bit over the curbing that unsettles the car slightly, and that's going to be very much good news for Sylvain Hubble behind if he can use it to his advantage, as someone locks up a little bit into turn 12. Let's have a look what can be done on this lap by the French driver of Sylvain Hubble. Train goes very wide on the exit, which isn't a bad thing necessarily. It is a line in many cars. Hubble's just got to try and put the power down as soon as possible, but I don't know if he has the top end necessary right now. He's got the slipstream, he's just in range, but he does not seem to be benefiting that much from it. Into the braking zone they go, lock up there ahead from Devdo. Train gets very deep into the corner, but Hubble cannot himself get a good enough exit. And now Benjamin Wolrak is right behind. 0.3 seconds between the teammates. As we see, Robin Moe has just begun lap 10 of the 22 in this race. Almost at the halfway point as Michael Randall is gapping a little bit more than he has done on previous laps, as Wolrak now 0.2 seconds to his teammate. Is he going to make a move, or is he going to let his teammate continue? Teammate goes wide, and that is Wolrak. They are side by side into the chicane. No, they're not. I think Wolrak backed out of it. And that is a dead car. That is Kai Sforza. Kai Sforza is sitting in the middle of the track on the exit chicane. What has happened? To use the cliche, he is not moving at all. I do not know what has happened here. Has his engine died on him? Can he move? It doesn't look like there is any input from the driver. And he has disconnected. I don't know what happened to him there. Whether he has had an issue and left, or if he has had a connection issue. But that is Kai Sforza currently. He can return if he is able, but currently out of the race. And that is going to be a very big shame for Small PP's hopes. And also a complication when it comes to assigning tokens. Depending on how much of the race he is deemed to have actually finished, as he has not made the halfway point, but he is actually now back in the pit lane. You see there, just behind, well, a little ways behind the commentary car, as we are now halfway through the race. So halfway through, gaps have spread out. The Wolrak Hubble Randall fight has died down for now. Let's have a look at your race leader. Currently, Robin Moe leads the field. I'm sorry, I say it technically it's not halfway through yet because it's only on 10.4 laps, but we're coming up to it. He is also coming up to lap one of the Spectre cars. Can't quite see who, but all the Spectre car gets loose. It's the 42 car, I think, then of Mr. Jort. Thankfully, his lack of exit grip gave me a chance to look at the number board on the side of the car. But your race leader at the moment, Robin Moe, leads the field by 24 seconds on P2 Crime in the Indian Bus Trans car. Meanwhile, further back, Ivan Baratz has got... Actually, I'm going to have to go back. Something's happened because there was no gap changes, but I think Trainboy maybe has got loose, has had an issue, and he is now down to 9th place and under threat from Benjamin Wolrak in the number 14 car. The one French driver is through, the second is coming up. Can he do anything into turn one? He's very close behind, 0.3 seconds. As Train looks to try and make a move. Train actually gets Hubble for a second. Can he maintain it? No, he can't. And Wolrak is going to go through. Is he going to go through on both of them? No, Train Boy is still ahead. No, he's not. Wolrak goes very deep, but trying, I think, to maintain a good gap to the other cars and get a good exit. He's now going to be on the inside of turn 3. Who's going to come out ahead? Trainboy gets a very good exit out of turn 3, and Wolrak is once again behind. He has not been able to make the move on Passant this time around. Yes, I did just do that on purpose. But now it's Randall. Oh, he gets a bit out of shape on the exit of turn 5. Now up to the chicane. It's currently a New Jersey sandwich on lovely French bread. But for now, the new order is Hubble, Randall and Wolrak. But it's going to be very close as Devdo who had, in the middle of us watching that fight, got past Aaron Reigns, gets onto the grass on the exit of turn 9 and gets passed again by the leftovers car of Aaron Reigns. Once again, Randall looking to come back. He makes a dive up the inside of turn 14. He makes it simply, gets very slidey on the exit. A little bit of contact, I think, from that, as that is one of the Spinardi cars trying to lap the 3 in the middle of their racing. I don't know if that's Daniel Scott or if it is Robin Moe, but either one, he did good to avoid any incident there, and someone's locked up into turn 1, but through the smoke we can see Michael Randall, the power that his engine has, making it well past Sylvain, but on the exit he gets very wide, but can he get the power down into turn 2? Suddenly we have a lot more excitement. There's contact in turn 2. I think Hubble knows it's his fault and gives up a little bit of time, gives the place back, but that's allowed Walrack to go through to P8. However, Michael Randall is not going to give up, but there is Mats Linham ahead, and Walrack is going to use Linham. Walrack has put Linham in between himself and Trainboy, the back marker car, who is entitled to maintain his own line, but that doesn't mean that other cars can't try and throw them in your face. But that has not helped out Sylvain Hubble, who has also been stuck behind the car that his teammate threw at Trainboy. And Hubble now seconds back from Michael Randall, but Michael Randall now a full second back from Benjamin Walrack. Let's then have a look what's going up ahead. So we mentioned Mats Linham as we just saw, and we saw this, the Lada Martini car getting passed by the front marker fighters, now having their own battle with Mats Linham. It is Lada Martini versus Lada Martini, even if they're dressed differently for this race. They come together, the spiderish suspension locking together, and I think they both give up some time on each other there. Behind we have the Spectre car trying to make its way through. That is Darkius, who is still trying to make his way back up after his incident, rather large incident, with Michael Randall at turn 1. The engine power of that car having proven itself throughout the race, but he has not managed to recover too well on the 3 cars battling for P8. Obviously, then that's also something to look out for when it comes to watching Michael himself, who may be receiving a penalty for that incident after the race if it is felt that he turned in on Darkius, or if he was in the wrong for the incident, which from my onboard it looked like he might have been. Obviously, if he gets a penalty, it will likely be, as we do stewarding here at Racing Pals, something which at the moment would put him behind Sylvain Hubble, if not behind Darkius himself, as Darkius lost a significant portion of time. It could be classed as what we call a one-car moderate, which I believe the going rate is generally 10 seconds race penalty. Obviously can be scaled and changed down to steward's discretion, but that is something to bear in mind when you are watching these fights, especially with Trainboy Michael Randall here. Back down with the no-wing racers. I think they might be the only team with no wings at the moment. Let me have a look. No, they're not. They're one of 2 teams with no wings. See Charlie getting very much commentator's curse there. The moment I look at him, the moment he has had an issue. So I just want to see, is anything happening to Jordan? No, that's just the timing tower being weird. Lada Martini car of Mr. Hyler, or as they get passed by the Indian bus driver's car of Ivan Baratz. Oh, he's going to get held up a little bit by the Lada Martini number 7 car as it is at the moment, although what will be at least next race, the 911 car of Mats Linham. again, Mats is entitled to hold his line. He does not have to jump out of the way of the leaders. That is the rules for blue flags as we do them at Racing Pals. You do not have to get out of the way of the leaders, but you cannot defend. You must allow them to pass if they make a clearly indicated move. Well, you must make them pass either way, but obviously there's their responsibility still to overtake safely, as Mr. Heiler is now side by side with his teammate. Thomas Jack will be a bit annoyed about having been held up by them racing, which again they are entitled to. The number 7 car still maintaining that lead, the car of Matt Linham against his teammate in the 912 Lada Martini Racing entry. As we are now on lap 15 just about, and I think Robin Moe's about to cross the line, so currently on 14.9 laps to finish his 15th lap. Yes, he has just about. There we are. Now we are on lap 16, and Robin Moe leads Crime by a significant jump, although he just lost some time. I'm not sure if that's just the straight. I think it is. Just wanted to check that the leader had not had a spin. But these two teammates are still fighting out. But further up the field, as that's Kai Sforza lapping. Sorry, not lapping, being lapped by Sylvain Hubble and Michael Randall. Randall, I think, got held up a little bit as Sylvain is now within 0.4. Once again, within slipstream range of the full steam racing car. But Kai Sforza is not giving up his track position so easily. Again, he is entitled on lap himself if he feels he can, and the electric engine down the straight, he does not have to lift and give up the place if he feels he can take it, but is again then passed into the corners due to the excess weight of the electric engine and the battery system. As Michael Randall now getting lapped by Mr. I believe that is Crime in the number 6 Indian bus driver's car. And Sylvain Hubble, after that bit of traffic, is now only 0.9 seconds behind Michael Randall. Make that 0.8-ish. But a little bit closer then, or not much, but a little bit closer he was. Jort is chasing down the back of Jacob Snack, the Spectre versus Peace T battle, which we were so used to from Season 1, returning a little bit, if a further down the field, for Season 2. As Jort is going to try and make the move. There's a little bit blinking there from Jacob, but Jort looks to have quite some pace. Jort, a very quick driver, we all know. Certainly, maybe has had a little bit of time to adapt to this car, but he seems to have got on it now and is fighting, trying to fight, with the reigning champion, Jacob. But let's look ahead. Benjamin Morek, now right on the rear of Devdo. I do not know when that happened. I don't know if Devdo's had an issue. I mean, we know he had that off, but he's now alongside, but the electric engine is going to play its part, and also it looks like Jacob Skrodsky is going to get past despite being a lap down, if not more, because of the power of the electric engine. Lock up from Benjamin Warrack. Maybe he feels he had to brake too much as the Silliams racing car entered the braking zone. It broke much earlier, again owing to the weight, and we see there Ivan Bratz also coming through in the pink Indian bus driver's car, unlapping himself. But these cars all vying for position. It's not going to be the easiest unlapping he's ever had to do. As they come up to turn 4. Let's have a quick look at this from the perspective of Ivan Bratz. V8 engine roaring. He gets past one. You can see there, full steam racing car in the rear view mirror. try and do it around the outside. He does it cleanly. There's a very wide line there for Devdo. That is a little bit of holding up for the number currently P3 car, but then we see Daniel Scott then 3 seconds behind Ivan, trying to get through, but he's going to have to negotiate some of this traffic as well. As Daniel gets past, he gets past Hubble. Now he will get past Michael Randall if he has the power to do so, and I think he does. Michael moves immediately to use the slipstream from this Bernardi car, but it's not quite as effective as he perhaps would like, and that is Daniel Scott. 3.2 seconds, I was going to say, behind Ivan Bratz, but Ivan Bratz had a spin, and he's back down to P4. I think we're basically back to quali order for the top 4 at least. That is then unfortunate for Mr. Bratz, who, with 4 laps remaining in this race, is not going to be very happy and going to be a little bit concerned about his position, as it's very, very tough task then for him to get up in only the next just under 10 minutes of this race. But Michael Randall now fighting once again with Sylvain Hubble, and whilst from here, I mean, we're nearly at the end of this race. I think I should ask, as I don't always. Sometimes I point my own, sometimes I just don't do anything about it. But if you have a possible idea of a driver of the day, please put it in the chat with any reasoning you want to give. I know obviously we have not seen every driver. Some have been driving just fantastic solo races, but do, if you can, give me an idea. Something just lagged out there with number 14 car, but number 13 car. I don't want to peel my eyes of this battle, but I do want to at some point go and have a look. I think a lot of praise has to be given in the direction of the leftovers, Nick Chin and Aaron Rains, who have been here since season 1 but did not have the best season 1 development cycle, have had their own struggles with building and making the car, and have seen themselves not have the best results over the first season, but now are P5 and P6 comfortably. And they are maintaining themselves well against Devdo, who perhaps should be ahead of them, but has had too many issues this race to make that done. So I think if I'm going to give anything to anyone, maybe not a driver of the day, but a constructor of the day, it would be to the leftovers cars. And now the train boy has dropped back from Sylvain Hubble. I'm going to go and have a look at one of their cars, the Anglo-American racing team, with the Yorkshire Tea on one side and the Shake Shack sponsorship on the other. P5 and P6. Very good finish from a team that has not had the best luck in the past, but have kept a clean, consistent race today, and has led to them being the best of the rest, really, as they are over over a minute and a half away from the pack of 4 who have very much dominated this race. But I think, yes, a lot of credit has to be given to Nick Chin and his teammate here, Aaron Rains. Very good drives from both of them. Some credit obviously also to given to Devdo, who has had a good pace this race, but it has been a race for him plagued with incident, issue and off-track moments and excursions that have seen him stay around P7 for quite a period of time. He did get up to P6 at one point, but was quickly overtaken as he had an excursion just before turn 10. As Ivan Bratz and Daniel Scott, I don't know when that happened. The time came down very quickly there. Daniel Scott perhaps had an incident or just got caught. But Ivan Bratz has got past Daniel Scott for P3, the podium now that Daniel Scott is going to absolutely try and fight back for down the order as well. You can see Sylvain Hubble very close back again on his teammate Benjamin Wolrak. But as this is the last... Oh, and that is Devdo. Yes, that was Devdo back there. And now Devdo is going to be in his own little battle if he can't pull away with the spinning baguettes cars. Benjamin Wolrak now leads Sylvain Hubble by 0.2 seconds. Let's see if we can have a look. I'm going to try and flick back if things look spicy at the front. But for now, Sylvain Hubble once again, well, not once again, it was previously that Benjamin Wolrak was on the tail of his teammate, but Sylvain Hubble now 0.2 seconds between him and his fellow PC Racing, spinning baguettes car, former HCR, Helios Community Racing car. Wolrak moves to the inside line. Maybe that was team orders, I'm not sure. But Wolrak does not put up much of a fight with that position. Whether he was hoping just to keep it there or whether he moved to the inside and let his teammate go, I don't know. But now Wolrak has Michael Randall here. Again, only 0.7 seconds behind. But as Robin Moe is currently on 20.7 laps, there are only one more lap to go after he crosses the line, so 2 laps. But there we see Michael Randall then absolutely fighting against Benjamin Wolrak. Wolrak might regret giving the place up. Devdo is round again. And that's Devdo down to P10. Devdo is down to P10 and Michael Randall is past Benjamin Wolrak. Wolrak may regret giving his place up to his teammate if that was what happened. Devdo is going to be very unhappy if this is his finishing position for the race, as we are now on the final lap. Well, not for these cars. These cars should have to do one more as Robin Moe is behind them on track. So still plenty of fighting to be done here. A little locking up on the exit there. I'm not sure what really happened, but that's going to allow Devdo then to come past. He's going to try to. He doesn't quite make it done yet. But like I say, this is the final lap. Oh, he does it into turn 13. Just almost. No, he doesn't quite have it, but the exit. Oh! Big contact. Big contact. That is Benjamin Wolrak. Very much out of that 5P9, but that could be, and that again will have to be something looked at in post-race stewarding. Potential penalty for one car or the other, and that was a big hit between the two that ended in misery for Benjamin Wolrak. He will still finish P10 so long as he doesn't lose 20 seconds. But here it is, your race winner, Mr. Robin Moe of Team Spinardi. And he crosses the line with a final time of 40 minutes, 8 seconds, and 563 milliseconds. And then Crime now. Well, he was 40 odd seconds away. Certainly will come home to finish second with a gap of around 23 seconds to his teammate, Mr. Ivan Bratz. And Michael Randall not quite catching as he would hope. The Helios car, Peace T car, sitting between them. Not this one, but deep cuts will certainly not help. Oh, as Deep gets onto the grass. For one reason or the other, that's Devdo again! Devdo is round again. Oh, almost an unsafe rejoin. Almost an unsafe rejoin on Benjamin Wolrak. Benjamin Wolrak is back through to 9th. He will be a very happy bunny for that. He may not still obviously be happy with how the end of the race has gone for him and his team, but he'll be happy enough that Devdo's pain has become his gain. That will almost certainly mean a P9 finish for Benjamin Morak. So Aaron Reigns has crossed the line to make P6. See who is where on the track. That's deep cuts coming up to the final corner. Hubble takes the flag, followed by Trainboy. See Benjamin Morak round the final corner, followed by the PCT backmarker car, and then just in the distance there, Devdo himself to take P10. The sound you can hear, I think, is many cars doing many different weird end of race AC regular things. Someone's definitely doing a burnout. I don't quite know who. And that is your race. So your final race timing tower standings are Robin Moe P1, Crime P2, Ivan Bratz P3. That is an Indian bus driver's double podium. Daniel Scott is P4, Nick Chin P5, Aaron Reigns P6. That is the two leftovers car 5-6. Sylvain Hubble, Michael Randall, Benjamin Morak, Devdo. That's your finishing order. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. For that little battle we've had in the middle of this race, or for most of this race. Then first of the non-top 10, Tom, then Darkius, then Jort, then Jaker, and it goes to Darkness. And I get auto reset Jaker, then Deep Cuts, then Jacob Skrodsky, then Hyla, Anderson, False Rochelau, Charlie, and Kai Sforza takes P21. Again, I can't quite remember if Kai started racing again. I think he did, so that should be helpful. Whilst they may lose some championships points, Kai Sforza will retain and regain the good load that he will receive of research tokens for the team at the end of this race, as he should be classified to receive them, and as it is inversely given out to performance, his unfortunate loss of points will be turned into a fortunate gain when it comes to upgrading the car for next race for PT. And now I'm going to go and call in your podium sitters for their interviews. Should also note, because this is the first race of the season, this is the current championship points for driver standing order, and also the current top 3 of the team's championship. The constructors championship should be Indian bus drivers, Spinardi, and the leftovers, with a nice little bit of redemption for that team, which did not have the best luck last season, I guess. Wasn't really a year. As I struggle to find the channel. There we are. And in the interview waiting room, we shall start with your P3, Mr. Ivan Brett. Hello, Mr. President.
Hello.
How was that race for you, Mr. Brett?
Well, difficult to react with only one foot being useful, and now probably with only one hand being useful after the finish procedure what happened.
I didn't quite see it. I saw there was some pile up into turn 1.
Yeah, so basically someone smashed into my rear, and now my finger hurts on a DD.
Oh, well, I mean, if you...
Yeah.
That's I think that would be ticketable if you want to, depending on who it was. That's
I know
unfortunate.
who it was. I already talked to him, but pain, pain.
But other
Only
than the
thing I can
pain,
say is pain.
what happened to you on your race start though? What actually happened? Because
Well,
I didn't really see it. 'Cause there's a lot of fighting going on, a lot of cars.
yeah. So I started. However, I knew how to start the car because this was my first race in it and my first race start. Then, um, regarding the T1, on the left, I had I don't know, it was an electric car. That's all I know. And I saw someone sending it on the inside, so I just went a bit deeper. And afterwards, it was pretty okay until I was lapping someone after T4, and I don't know, I just tapped his rear and my car spun into the wall. So yeah, but
That's
good
unfortunate.
recovery in the end.
But you
Uh,
recovered to P3. Where did you start again?
yeah,
I can't remember which the order was between you and
P2.
Crime. You were P2 at the start, so but you
Yeah,
got
I
back
was
up to
P2.
P3. Indian bus
Yeah,
drivers
it's okay.
P2, 3. You're obviously
Yeah, it's a
substituting
good
in.
team result.
Yeah, you're substituting in. Do you know if you'll be back for next race or if you'll be replaced by the more regular driver?
I have no idea. I'm the super sub, as they would say.
Well, certainly today you were the super sub. Good qualifying,
Yeah,
good race
thank you.
finish. I would ask you, obviously, any directions you want to take, but as you are the sub, I will save those questions for Crime. Is there anything else you want to add for your on your race?
No,
Anything you want to mention?
it was a good race all around. It's really difficult to judge different cars, especially when they have some similar liveries. So you need to like really think which car it is, what kind of car it is, but it's fun.
I suppose that's the only other question which I want to ask all three of you. Lapping traffic, how was that in some cases? I know that it didn't look the easiest. So there was a lot of midfield battling going on.
Yeah, I mean, probably some are gonna be mad, but like when I can brake 50 meters before the corner and they brake before 100, like I need to take the chance. Especially when they mid corner are way slower and out of the corner. The only cars that are actually a bit difficult to maneuver are I think it's Dion's car and Dev.
The
I don't,
Cilliums.
yeah, them, because on the straight they're a rocket ship, but then they just, I mean, they're not blocking, but basically it looks like blocking because, yeah, the rest of the track they're really slow.
Oh well. Well,
But
we
it's
certainly
fun.
noticed that. But congratulations on your P3,
Yeah,
and
thank
I
you.
hope we will see you again sometime.
Yeah, hope so too.
All right, see you, Ison.
See you. Bye bye.
Right then, your P2 finisher now, Mr. Crime. Hello,
Oh,
Crime.
hello.
Congratulations, P2.
Um, Thank you.
Again, I think.
Yes.
Yes, another P2.
Again. Another P2.
How was that race from your standpoint?
Um, Not really the cleanest one, I would say, and also, mm, maybe it was similar to the previous one. It's just after the sixth lap where Daniel lost the rear end of his car and we had small contact. After that, it was just dealing with slow traffic and trying to not die pretty much. So it was a boring race, I would say, after lap 6.
So not much to mention then. I mean, your cars, you and Spinardi, both were clearly very dominant. What do you think gave you the edge? I mean, you were the only two teams to do 49s. The fifth place qualifier was a 55-1.
Yeah, we saw that we are few seconds ahead of the competition. I think it's just going back to season 1. We were the first teams also to switch engines quite early in the game, which probably benefits us in the long run, and also other good decisions that we took. And I think that is literally the only difference between the cars.
Oh, well, fair enough. So early decisions that are now paying off for the pair of you. Does it give you more hope, how dominant you were this race, that you'll be able to hold on for longer throughout the series, or are you still worried about other teams catching up?
I'm pretty sure other teams are going to see what we are doing and gonna try to copy us. So definitely, I'm expecting them to close the gap, but we are gonna try our best, obviously, to stay in front of them as much as possible. So we'll wait and see.
Well, that's very good. And yeah, congratulations on your P2. And we'll see you next time out.
Thank you.
Cheers, Gripe.
Bye bye.
And now I'm going to turn to the Spinardi car, your current race winner and your pole sitter. Second time race winner this season if you count the preseason. First time scoring points as it though, Mr. Robin Moe. Hello, Robin.
Hello, James.
How was that race? Second win of the season, first point scoring win as well.
Yeah, I'm really happy. That was quite a good race and a strong, show of dominance, I think.
It was certainly that.
Hours, yeah.
I mean, there's not really much I can really ask you except for I asked Crime this question. What do you think? What do you think it is? Both you and the Indian Bus Drivers cars have an extraordinary amount of pace compared to the rest of the grid. What do you think's giving you the edge?
Our car has like two areas where it's really strong, which is like the engine side. The V8 itself isn't a good engine right now, but nobody else has something that's better. So like the maxed out V8 is clearly the fastest. I mean, you saw today the electric engines were extremely dominant, but they were, not developed. Yeah, they're not developed, in a way that, suits the entire car. Whereas our car is just a good all-rounder in terms of engine. We have the performance on the straight, we have it out of corners, it's drivable. And the second area is weight. We have the car maxed out in terms of weight. And the IBD car is basically a copycat of what we did. So it's pretty much the same car. So they are really similar. The only thing that sets us apart is that we have Curse. They have some minor other stuff, I guess, but I don't know exactly. And obviously, I don't know if that came across like that, but we did have illegal tires on the car today. So.
Oh yes, I was aware, but didn't want to say in case
No,
it's
fine.
breach procedure. Yes, the illegal tire upgrade, which was used at the last race of the season, which is a part of Project A, that teams can take illegal tires and illegal upgrades, but have a chance of getting caught. They're not really illegal. We call them illegal. I feel like they need a better name than illegal upgrades. They're more like rule skirtings.
Yeah.
A bit like F-ducts and that sort of thing in Formula
Double
1.
diffusers.
DAS.
Yeah.
Yes. But that clearly gave you an edge. But that's I think that's what, worth a second or so last week.
I think more. I think when we had them.
Here's my question.
Sorry?
Do you think if you didn't have them, what lap times do you think you would be putting in? Actually, what lap times were you putting in, I guess, before you were...
Well, I knew my PB would have been like a 46.9 for quali, but I didn't get the lap in. But in the race, in the end, like I had traffic every lap. It was hard to do a representative lap.
Yeah, but I mean, if you didn't have the illegal tire upgrades, what do you think your lap time would be?
I don't know, high 49s, maybe even 50s, like 2 seconds slower, I think.
So still quite dominant.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that's mostly down to, minimum weights, maximum power in the V8 at least. The V8, as I said, not the best engine overall, but in the current state, nobody has something better. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Any ideas for next time out then? Any sort of directions you want to go in for? I believe where are we racing next time? I think it's somewhere.
It's Jerez.
Oh, it's Jerez. Yeah, sorry, it is Jerez.
I think it is. I don't know.
It is. Yes, you are correct. Jerez, Spanish track next week. Bit bumpy. Some nice long straights, but also some good corners. What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe we pick illegal upgrades again, but it's a risk every week, and we haven't been checked yet, so you never know how that goes. But as I said, weight is maxed out, engine is maxed out, so we kind of have to invest in anything that's not those two things. So I'm thinking camber, wheel rates, setup stuff. Maybe ride height, who knows? But we don't have too many tokens, Daniel P4, me P1, we don't know if we get stripped of tokens because of the penalty if we get caught. So I'm saying put everything into setup, maintain as much pace as we can, and basically we have to cover off the IBD cars next week and see maybe somebody closes the gap. as you said, quite a dominant performance, and the car does have a lot of pace, but we can't make the car lighter. We can't make the car more powerful. So eventually teams will catch up. If that's next week or next race or the race after, I don't know. But we have to make with what we've got right now and get the maximum points that we can out of it. Similar to like Brawn,
Yeah.
get
You
it
want
done
to
in
do
the
the
early
Brawn.
races.
Well,
Yeah.
I was saying that's a crime. I mean, obviously teams will catch up, but you have such a dominant performance. You have to wonder how long you'll be able to continue this. Because last season we saw some dominant performances early on, but they were never quite the same qualifying gaps to the rest of the field as you had.
Yeah, I think it's exaggerated though, because if we say 2 seconds is the tires, then I'm already doing 50s. I think the next closest car was the left, or was like doing maybe 55s or something. But like with setup, I'm not going to gain 5 seconds. I'm going to gain a second, half a second, whatever. But if they upgrade their weight, if the other cars do what we did with weight or engine, or like upgrade the electric engine, make it lighter, upgrade the V10 or V12s or whatever they have, they can easily gain 3 seconds, 4 seconds. So that's why I'm saying if they they have upgrades they can do. If they keep chipping at it and develop their weight and their engines further, then they're going to catch up to us. Race 2 or race 3, I'm thinking. But yeah, it looks more dominant than it is. It's a long track. The lap time is exaggerated. If the track was short, if the lap time was shorter, then it would be a bit closer. But yeah, I think it was in the end was over 40 seconds. So yeah, at least to the second place car.
Well, we'll see how things turn out, but until then, well done. Congratulations on your race win, and I'm sure we'll see you next time out.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. Fingers crossed we don't get caught now, but
We'll have to find out. Spinning baguettes have been inspected and cleared. They are legal, but we'll have to wait to see whether Spinardi or Indian bus drivers get any sort of catchings, I guess. Get caught.
I'm nervous, but
Oh, you're definitely nervous because you're the only driver that's been caught before.
I'm the only one that got busted. But statistically speaking, I don't know what the chance is. 30%. There's 3 cars on the podium, of which I'm pretty sure, like considering how similar the IBD car is, I'm pretty sure we are all running illegal stuff right now. So there's a double chance for them to get caught, and there's 1 chance for me to get caught. So I have to see the positives.
Well,
yeah,
we'll have to see. But again, congratulations, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, Robin.
Yeah, thanks for the commentary. See you, man.
Cheers. Well, that was your race winner, Mr. Robin Moe. And as we mentioned there, next time out we will be back with Hereth in 2 weeks' time. But before then, and before I let you go, next weekend, it is series, I think 8 or 9 of RP series. I can't remember which series we're on, but it is RP series, our ACC GT Racing League. Now only GT3 cars. It used to be multi-class, but GT3 Racing Series going to round 1 after the pre-season race test at Nürburgring. Round 1 will be Kielami next weekend, and is Sunday, July 2nd. Practice starting at 7:45 p.m. British summertime, and that will be 5 minutes of qualifying, 5 minutes practice, 15 minutes of qualifying, and a 60-minute race session, which I am understanding will be a little bit spicy and a little bit wet. And as I said, yesterday was our endurance race in ACC. We do not yet have our next one planned, but it will likely come some point at the end of July or the beginning of August. So keep an eye on our RP Discord server endurance channels or on our Racing Pals Reddit channels for the announcements and promotions of that event when it comes. But until next time, again, 2 weeks' time in Jerez. Next week it will be Kielami for RP series, and it will be commentated and streamed on this Racing Pals YouTube channel by our resident director, Mr. Deep Cuts, who was a PC racing driver today. But until next time, I have been your commentator, Mr. James Andrews. Thank you, and good night.